How you doing, everyone? I was just checking on the lights because I have a hard time to see it, and I like to see the expressions of dislike. Yeah, it just bring light, right? Sometimes it's a little bit cozy here. I don't want anybody sleeping. That's the reality. So anyway,
You exude light.
oh yes, and flowers, right? They're all fake, but we are getting in there, right? So welcome everyone. It's a pleasure being here. We are going to talk about something very interesting. Just to give you a little bit of background. One day, I was having a very hard day, like nobody does, right? Just like he said. I said things I didn't want to. I spoke to people I didn't like. It was that day that you say, okay, what else can happen? And I was thinking with myself, wow, I thought that I was getting a little bit better. And today wasn't a day that I really showed what is really inside me. So that a question came to my mind, where am I in this evolutionary path? Because sometimes we think, oh, I'm doing better, right? I'm treating somebody better. That person that I didn't like, I can talk. So you're making some progress here and there. But all of a sudden, what happens? It happened with me. You screwed up. And I didn't know. I was just curious to know. Because in Spiritism, we learned that the spirit goes back. Once we learn something, once we conquer the virtual, that's where we are, which is a great thing, right? Nobody wants to go backwards. But I was like, am I stuck? Because I thought I was moving forward a little bit. So then one Monday I came to the center, and there was a sweet lady that stays in the reception. She handed me a message. And the message was signs. And I never read, I always put in my purse. But that day I'm like, let me read this. And it was exactly what I needed to hear and see it. Because the message, it's all about what you're going to see it tonight. It was the answer to my questioning mind on that moment. Signs of how I'm progressing in my evolution. How do I know if I'm taking a step back, if I'm stuck, or if I'm really moving forward? So this message helped me a lot. It's from the Christian Agenda book. It was a little message in the paper she gave me. And with this message, I went to the Spirit's book, because that's always our foundation, to find what was the connection with the message so we could see it today. And it helped me a lot, and that's my hope that it also be useful to all of you. So moving forward, let's just see, is this one on Thursdays too? Okay. So I don't make a confusion. Okay. Well,
If it works.
it said it was, right? But that's probably, there you go. Okay. So, in the Spirit's book, we have a question 100, where Allan Kardec, you might be familiar with that, but for those who are not, he kind of put like a scale, hierarchy graph, classifying the spirits in different orders of perfection or evolution, as we wanted to understand. So the third order, where it's categorized, are the spirits that are imperfect. While those, in this case, those spirits, the predominance of the matter over the spiritual things. So they are more inclined to evil. Some are really inclined only to evil. This category is really broad, according to what he said. So pretty much inclination towards evil, ignorance, pride, selfishness, none of those stuff that we carry on, right? They have some lower ideas and feelings. But there are also spirits in this category that doesn't do good nor do bad. It's like what we call the neutral, right? Where we learn that not doing good is not a good thing. It's already not well for us. So this category is really broad, but pretty much they are more inclined to evil than toward goodness. And the matter, like the material things, the corporeal life, it's stronger than the spiritual values. All right? The second category, the second order of spirits are the good spirits, which is also a huge bucket, different categories under this order, because they are in different levels. They can range from very intellectual beings, and the morality is also being developed, but their main goal at this category is to do good. So, of course, they do have their purpose, their main purpose is the desire to do good. So they don't think about doing good. They just do it. It's a natural thing where one day in this universe, in this infinite time, we are going to be just like them. And the first order are the pure spirits, which the example of pure spirit that has been brought to earth, it's Jesus Christ. That's the only pure spirit in this category that has come. Many that came to bring progress to the humanity, to help us in the moral, intellectual ways, are good spirits, are in the second order. But majority of the spirits, I would say, let's put 90%, if not 99%, are in the third order. Because we are reincarnated in a planet of trials and expiations and difficulties that we have to overcome. So I don't know about you, but which category do you think you are?
Fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, the fourth, yeah, it's under, that's a very lower zone, right? So which category you think you are? Because, some people get upset when I say, well, but I'm good. Well, but that's not the good that he's saying. We are good, but we're not good 100% of the time. Right? I've just mentioned to you, one days we're going to be down, one days we're going to be showing, a little bit more gentle and so forth. So good spirits, they don't have this fluctuation anymore. Now, are we just left alone in this planet without any guidance? Of course not. They are amongst us. Our, what we call guardian angel or spiritual benefactor, they are not in the same level as we are. Because imagine if that was the case, right? It would be a whole party mess. These spirits, it's a lot above what we are in the evolution. So that's why they are to help us. And some of them are reincarnated amongst us, but that's minority, we know. But there is a lot of information out there and examples in humanity we could even bring. But that's not the focus. The focus tonight is the question that was my question, and I'm going to bring it to you. How is our spiritual evolution, spiritual progress going? Do you guys ever ask that question? No? Have you? It was a hard question. You know how you come to that question? No, you know how, that's not even with spiritism, right? Forget it. If you're not a spiritist, you don't have to be, you don't have to believe in anything. This is not a religious talk. When we get to the level where, okay, where am I in this goal of God? Because the goal of God is what? Put us on earth and let it be? No, we have a goal, we have a purpose to one day become light, pure spirit, where there is not going to be a second thought, oh, am I doing wrong? Or I'm feeling this, I'm feeling wrong. There is no big questions about that. We are going to be completely good and perfect, relative perfection, because only God is perfect. But we won't have any problems intellectually or morally. But we are not there yet. So as I was curious to know, where am I in this evolution? That's when this message came. Although I know I am a spirit from the third order, I'm aware of that. What am I going with this? So I started to think about this question all the time. So first of all, let's think. We are in a planet where there is a most of trials and tribulations. The gospel, according to Spiritism, tells us that the earth is a school, it's a hospital, it's, I wouldn't say a softer term, but let me use the term that they say, a jail, a prison. So, in fact, where we are in the hospital when we are healthy? No, right? We are in a jail or in a prison when we just did the right things? No. So think about that. I'm like, okay, but is that moving somewhere? Right? So then I went to the Spirit's book and found this question. This question was what it really answered what I was looking for. Allan Kardec asked the spirits, but what signs can we recognize in individuals the real progress that will raise their spirit in the spiritual hierarchy, like what we saw before? So if I'm in the third order there, right, what are the characteristics that I can identify in somebody that is in a different order on that path of evolution? So that's the answer. The spirit proves its progress when all the actions of its corporeal life consist in practicing the law of God, and when it understands the spirit life beforehand. Now, let's think about this. When all the actions, it's about practicing the law of God. Are we there yet? No, right? When understand the spiritual life beforehand. We're getting there. And when he's saying this, I just wanted to bring this. Oh, so we read that and say, okay, spirit life, oh, this is stuff from spiritism. No, he's not talking about spiritism. Spiritual life, spirit life is when the person at least have a sense that it's something else out of here. Over the attachment to matter. It doesn't matter your religion, what you believe, or if you believe in God or not. Are you so attached to this moment, to this planet, to those things, that you don't think what's coming next? Where am I going with this? What's my purpose in life? Right? So this is the point that they understand a spirit that is in that category, have no more questions about that. There is no more attachments, right? And that's how we can identify where we are. Well, this was not new to me. I knew it. I was not in any better place, like Peter say. I'm probably in the fifth zone. You're in the third or fifth order. But that is a start, right? But then I went practice the law of God. Okay, what's the law of God? Then we go to the question 641, where Allan Kardec is going to ask, what is law of God? What is the natural law? Because we hear law of God, let's follow God. What is that? So Allan Kardec asked, the natural law is the law of God. It is the only law that is truly necessary for human beings to be happy. So we don't need the car. We don't need a perfect family. We don't need anything that we know to be happy. The law of God is what is needed for us to be happy. It shows them, that's what the law does, what they should or should not do. And they only suffer misfortunes when they depart from it. So the law of God is where? Is in the Spirit Center? No. Is in the Catholic Church? No. Is in the temple? No. It's in whatever? No. The law of God is in our conscience. So we all know what is the right thing to do. We all know. But we are in a path developing this. So when we make a mistake and we, triple here and there, we know the right thing to do. But we can't do it yet, all the time. But the law of God is inside us. Deep inside, our spirit knows what is right. Why? Because we are creatures of God. We are not created to whatever, just go there and do whatever you want. Yes, we have the free will, but we have the seeds of greatness as well. So with that, I went to the question, the next one, which is the main question of this book, in my opinion. If the Spirit's book was only this, that would be a whole lot of help in our lives. Because Allan Kardec asked him this question: what is the most effective means for improving ourselves in this life and resisting the evil? So going back to the beginning, how can I better myself and stay away from evil? How can I do that? It's hard, isn't it? It's not hard for anybody. I'm just saying, Nobody's saying anything. So I don't know, it's hard or it's not hard. Because it's hard for me. And when we say evil, we are not saying evil to be killing somebody or slapping people's face. No, we learned that the evil is also simply not doing anything good. Just seeing somebody suffering and don't feel anything. So if we are in that level of seeing somebody sorrow and don't be touched by that, we are in a track that we have to be aware. Because at this level that we are, after 224 years that a pure spirit came to us, we are still not even paying attention to what's going on with our brothers and sisters, or we are not even touched. Something has to change. So in here, Allan Kardec asks, how can I improve myself and resist the evil? A sage of antiquity has told you, know thyself. Bringing back to question 641, how do I know this? What is my thyself? In my conscious. The law of God. So more I know where, excuse me the term, I mess up, more I know where I'm great of, better I can maneuver and manage my life and conquer my spiritual progress. So, know thyself. Oh, but that's great. How do I do that? There is no magical formula. What I'm about to bring is what I saw in this message that is going to link to what we just saw in the Spirit's book. And I think that it's going to help a little bit. But before we go there, there is also a question where he asked, aren't the instinctive predispositions that individuals bring at birth an obstacle to the exercise of their free will? Okay, I have to know myself, right? There are things I can do to get out of the evil, to improve myself. But how about if I was born in a family where crime is okay, in a dysfunctional family, or if I carry inside me a lot of evil, a lot of things that I didn't want it to have? Is this an excuse? How can I overcome this? Because it is a very valid question, right? Because it's hard. It's not an obstacle. So if I was born and I was abused, or I was born in an environment that is a very repressive, or whatever you want to call that, it's not positive, is this not an obstacle for me to get better? Because it's harder, right? When you are in this condition, because it's very easy for us to talk here, right? Let's put it like a very good example, a very simple example. I'm in the AC here, it's great, right? Sometimes I look at those guys who work in construction, I'm like, how in the world you can work under 100 degrees, right? It's just a very simple example, but they still do it what they have to do. Right? We can say, how come people they're born from a drug addicted can become like a CEO of a company and spread his money all over the place to help other institutions and charity? Well, he was born in a place that was very not in his favor. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. So the ancestry instinctive predispositions are those of the spirit before incarnating. Depending on how advanced the spirit is, they can lead to commit reprehensible acts in which will be supported by spirits who sympathize with these dispositions. However, there is no irresistible attraction if one has the will to resist. Remember that where there is a will, there is a way. So the environment that we are born, the situations that we face, the people that are with us are not excuse for us not to move forward. Indeed, it is an obstacle, right? But and it can be aggravated by the type of people that are surround us. And when I say that surrounding us, it could be incarnated or spiritual beings that can severely aggravate our emotional state, influencing our decisions. But it's still not an excuse. When I used to work in this work that we have there for spiritual treatment, I always say that there is no excuse. We are not victims. We are not victims. We might be in a victim situation today because we are being the one being disturbed, being persecuted by incarnates or discarnates, it doesn't matter. But there is a reason behind that. And it doesn't matter what happened now. What matters is what we're doing from here and beyond. Because remember, the people that we live in and the spirits in the other side of life, they know what we've been through. They know where our fragilities are. Even if the people are living with us, we as spirits, we know each other. So of course we're going to have obstacles. But that doesn't mean that we can just sit still and wait for something to happen when the spirits are saying, hey, there is no irresistible attraction, so I can't get out of there. But of course, at the beginning of our journey, when situations are very difficult, we need help. We all need help. But at a certain point in life, we are going to have to start our own steps, right? There are cases where the spirits are incarnate or not, they get better, they improve themselves, and we stay stuck, believe it or not. So when we are talking about our progress and this, oh no, I cannot do anything better because of my family, because I was born with this, because people just betrayed me. Well, let's just stop with that right now. Indeed, these are obstacles that makes things harder. But you and me, we know we have the power, right? Like that music, we have the power, right? We do, right? But it's not an easy task, but it's not impossible. So bringing a little bit about the will, in this book, Thought and Life, brought by Emmanuel, he brings a point about the will that I want to share with you. So he's going to say that the will manages everything, right? Manages what? Our mental action, everything. So the will is the CEO, okay? And then we have the human mind is the mirror of our conscious. So we don't have access to everything as an incarnate being, but as a spirit, we do. We know exactly who we are, what we did, and people, but when we are in this body, we are kind of a little bit restricted, right? But then he says, let's just visualize like departments. So our mental action, the boss, the main boss is the will, the CEO. And then we have some departments like a company. So I have the Department of Intelligence. It's a department, but some people think what? That the intelligence is everything, right? So the intelligence is what hosts our evolution and culture. So yeah, we have to progress, we have to develop our intellectual skills over the lives, over the situations, but it's not the big deal in there. The second one is the desire. The desire, our purpose, our aspirations, also a department. And the imagination is the ideas, the spiritual sensitivity, like the inclination for for the feelings, for creativity and all that. And then the memory. In the memory, we accumulate experiences. Now, I ask you, do you think those experiences are just from this life? So when we are in a situation where we are faced with challenges, it could be a spiritual challenge or a material challenge, don't you think that whoever is surrounding us know or don't know what is in our memory? They know, because we carry this baggage with us. It's something that we conquered over the incarnations, and that means it could be something great as well. Because the point is not us to think, oh, I'm in this planet, so everything is lost. No, we have greatness inside ourselves too. That is great. But we also cannot ignore the things that we need to improve. That's our goal, right? Which is majority. That's the bad news, right? So the imagination, the memory, accumulate the experiences that define the investments of the soul. And the will is the above all, determine the impact of all this in our life. So just to give you an example, the will, right, is strong enough to sustain the harmony of the spirit, which is exactly what we saw in other question. Where there is a will, there is a way. We all have will. What happens is that sometimes it's not awakened as it should be. So the last thing we want to say for somebody that is under depression is, you have to put your will together. You have to start wanting to do things. You have to get out of this bed. The person does have a will, but if the will is sick, needs help, right? But we all have that force inside us. So the will, that's one thing that we cannot use an excuse. The will cannot stop the thought. So the will cannot stop that person to affect me. The will cannot stop that thought that I have to slap somebody's face. We all do, right? We all have some, or it's just me. I'm feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, or don't talk, or the will cannot stop. Oh, that person coming. We all have those talks, right? The phone rings. Oh, no. The will cannot stop that. Cannot. Unfortunately not. It would be great, but it cannot. But can impose discipline. Right? So I get that situation, that argument, whatever. I cannot avoid that. I cannot control what the other person is going to do, how the other person is going to treat me. I don't have that power. We don't. Sadly, we don't, right? Because we wanted to have. The will cannot stop that offense, that scream on top of me. But it can discipline how I'm going to act, can dictate how I'm going to act through the order of our spirit. So there is no circumstances that can say, oh, stop, stay stuck because I say so, because my family wants, because my boss doesn't promote me. There's nothing stopping us. But it's hard. It's a hard process. It's not simply as we are trying to picture, right? So I brought the message that helped me to share with you guys. When I read the message, signs of your spiritual progress, like, great, let's reflect about that. So our conversations, what do? Think about our spiritual line, okay? Our path. Talk about the directions that we choose in life. So I'm not here to judge you or you to judge me. All of us needs to think about this. What I'm talking, my discussions, my type of conversations, they resemble the directions that I'm choosing in my life. Let's think about it. You don't have to tell me. I'm not here to point fingers or anything. Let's think about the type of conversations that I like, the type of conversations that I join. That's what's happening. Our decisions in difficult times. Everybody has difficult times, right? They have to decide. Identify the real position of our spirit. When I have a difficult time and I have to decide something, am I going to despair? Am I blaming others? Am I throwing everything in the air and say, forget it? Or I'm going to take a moment, okay, what God wants to show me with this? How am I going to get out of this? That also tells us where we are in that pathway, right? It's another thing that really helped me a lot. The behavior. Our behavior. And the message, I'm altering the message in a good way because the message was no mercy, your behavior. But I changed for our behavior because I didn't want it to sound that it's you and not me. It's all of us. So our behavior. What I like about this picture is the following. I like that first one because it looks a little bit like me, and that is really my expression when I'm like, what? Really? I mean, no. My indignation expression, which is a very constant. I have to better myself on that. This one here, we can see that it's somebody that's probably undergoing a medical treatment. If you go visit a hospital, especially chemotherapy sections, you're going to identify who is sick or who is just in a state of sickness. Because one thing is the spirit to be sick. Another thing is you to face the sickness. And it's very clear who is really sick, because sometimes the body is sick, but the spirit is not. The spirit is purifying himself and herself through that hard trial. But that's our behavior, right? In everything. I didn't think that men pull up hairs, but they do, right? Do men pull up hairs too? Do you pull up your hair as well? Yeah.
Just like pushing it.
Yeah, this one in the middle here is a little bit fake, right? We are not like that. Oops, I just take it out. Sorry, fake. But we have moments of smiling and positiveness, right? Everybody does, which is great. Worriness, my face there in the beginning, like, what, really? No, please. And this one. So the behavior reflects our inner state. Reflects to who? We can just put a mask, we can just pretend that nothing happens, we can, just kind of like fool whatever incarnated. I can fool you guys and you can fool me. But the folks that are in the spiritual realm, we don't. That's the sad part of it. So our behavior reflects our inner state. What's in the heart? Remember that, I don't know if I'm going to translate this correct, but in the gospel said that the mouth speaks what is inside the heart. Right? Sometimes, no, I didn't mean to say yes, but we were in the heat of the moment. What is inside your heart? The heat of the moment. The angry, the uncontrollable emotions, right? So the impulses. What are the impulses? My inclinations. What I'm tend to it. What do I like? Right? Define the mental zone in which we prefer to remain. I like that because they help us to identify so many things. So my impulse is the addiction. My impulse is to talk bad about somebody. My impulse is to be in social media just chatting and criticizing people. My impulse is to just check to see if people are going to like me. Like Krishani gave a good lecture on Monday. She talked about that. How many likes I'm getting it? Is going to add to me? Is that my value is there? My impulse is to check who is following me, right? If people are enjoying my presence. Or my impulse says, oh, I have to drink, I have to do that. Nothing against the drinking. Nothing against, people do whatever they want. But this is for us to help. Where I am in that path. What are my impulses? Right? We all have the answer. I'm not here to ask individually what it is, but we all know. Our thoughts, the same way. The thoughts reveal our spiritual companions. This is a big deal. I think from all of this message, this is the biggest deal for me. Because we all hear, right? The thoughts, it's matter, it creates things. Yes, we have no idea the power of this. Our spiritual companions, it's not only the ones that are not amongst us on earth, right? But also the people that we attract in life. Have you heard those people that say, I only deal in relationships with bad guys, of the woman that doesn't want anything to do with it, right? To say the least. Well, there is something inside us that has to be discovered. Why this attraction? What's going on? But I've been so good, I never did anything. Yes, but we didn't live only this life. So there is a common denominator in there that needs to be observed in all of us, right? So our thoughts, I brought a little bit also from this book, Thought and Life, where Emmanuel is going to say that the mind is the mirror of our life, our interior life, our inner state. The heart is the face. The brain is the waves where it generates the force of the thought, right? But there is a reciprocal influence in the universe. So at this moment, right, nothing that we are thinking here, we are thinking alone. Have you thought about that? And you understand why I'm saying this, because we have the capacity to assimilate thoughts and energies and vibrations that are in tune with ours. So if I think about saying something about that particular person that is negative, it's not only me telling to a second person. It's everybody that is in tune with that type of energy, with that type of act, bringing more strength to that comment, to that conversation, because we are all immersed in this law of affinity, of attraction. Now, the good news is the thought reveal our spiritual companions, and we can shift that to attract the good ones. Right? Is it hard? Yes. Sometimes I wonder, where is this spiritual guide, right, that everybody talks about it? Have you guys asked this or not?
On vacation. All the time.
All the time, right? Sometimes no. I ask myself because I don't feel its presence. When those days get to a point where I'm so immersed in this type of vibe, like the world vibe and everything coming in and my brain spinning all over the place, I don't feel its presence. But that takes a moment for us to stop. Like Jesus said, right? Go to a room, put yourself in silence. It's not shut down the door, turn off the lights, and nobody bothers me. It's your mental state. Yes, the silence with yourself. That moment where what do you say?
How can you feel a presence of something higher if you are in the lower zone?
Exactly. That's what my point is. There, we talk about law of affinity, of attraction, of being connected to similar thoughts. How in the world I can do that? Remember, the folks that are guiding our existence, they are to protect us. They are in a different zone, in a different order of spirits, right? They are not going to come and force to open our doors and say, hey, I'm going to step into your house right now, unless we ask for it. They are there. They are like just like parents, right? But parents are imperfect. Those are very good ones. But we have to get in tune with them, at least to be receptive for their presence. To the least, through a prayer. If you don't pray, at least take a moment from that confusion, that situation, that thought, that internet, whatever you are in, take a step back and let's reflect. I'm pretty sure that once your mind free a little bit and calm down, you're going to feel a little breeze coming. And then you'll be able to have some, condition to approach us. Because they are always close to us, but it depends how we feel.
I'm doing the classes with Marlon Ken, and he's saying a lot about the silence of the mind, if the confusion, step back, even go walk, go see the wind and stuff like that.
Anything helps. Like you are there in the midst of something, even that step back, say, okay, I'm not talking to you right now. I see that you were upset. I'm upset too. Let's take a step back. We can solve this later. Even if you're still not calm, your voice is still strong like mine, that's a way to stop, right? And take a deep breath. But that doesn't solve things, right? But that is a moment where, like Peter said, we can take to maybe having different companions, have different strength inside us to move on. But it didn't stop that. Are you guys ready for the next one? Because it's getting intense. Remember, this book was brought around 1940s, 1950s. We are in 2024, so is that old? It doesn't, well, it's very actual, right? It's very new, and it's very for our reality. So he says our readings. Nobody reads books anymore, right? Physical books, very few. Let's put the internet, the TV, whatever you want to call. They didn't have those in that time, but we are adding, we are altering in a good way. Our readings define our feelings. So listen to that. If my thought is initially to go online and check such and check only violence, and check only the tragedies that happened that day, what am I feeling? Oh no, but I'm super happy. I'm just checking because my friend said that this happened. Still, this is what is outside. What is the inclination? Where is the impulse?
There is a study that came on COVID that if you spend like 15 minutes watching this kind of thing, you lower your immune system for at least 50.
And you get connected. You get hooked to it. It is easier for us to sink down in negativity. Why? Because we are still in that level where we are more pending to evil than towards perfection. So it's a lot of, it's very basics, right? I'm not even need to repeat that. Then coming out of the negative zone to a more subtle vibration. It's harder and it takes time. We need to ask for help. But in this situation, I'm not here to judge anybody, of course, but we have to ask ourselves, when we go online, what we watch on the TV, what we are wasting our time with it, that's our feelings are connected. It's not because somebody can tell, well, go there and go and drink because it's good. Oh, I don't feel like drinking, I don't go. So you're doing and I'm doing because somebody said so? No. So if we are doing it, it's because there is something that I'm connecting to it that we have to think about. The way we treat others. At this point, I thought the message was going to be over, right? Because I was like, I just can't take it anymore, but there is a few more. The way we treat others. Look at those pictures, guys. Have you seen this? We're not talking about people that are out there, but have you seen yourself and myself now in these situations? All of them, right? There's somebody courageous here. Yes. I don't think I ever point a finger at somebody, not physically, but my brain, yes. Like, imagine that I'm doing it. So, which is the same thing, you're just not using the finger. So, the vibe, the thought, and the intensity is the same. The same. Even a message. Same thing, guys. Criticizing. Maybe you I never bully anybody. Yes, neither did I. But we always saying something about somebody, right? No? You always have to say something about it. And people say about us too, and that's okay. I don't care, right? But we say about it. Exactly. So the way we treat others, but this is the thing, it's not about what others are doing to us, right? But our good actions are also in the spot. We can't forget that. But we just focus on what is not working. But our good deeds are also in the spot. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm upset because I'm in line. My husband loves to do that. He talks to people. He likes to love customer service. He's so polite. I'm thinking, one day I'm going to be like that. Because when I get the customer service, I'm about to scream. And my first thing is that I'm sorry. I know it's not your fault, but this needs to be fixed. He's more evolved than I am. I understand that. But I smile to somebody. That person might not be having a good day. Just like us. I hate waiting in line. Does anybody love to wait in line? No, right? But we wait in the phones. Maybe take a moment to do something else, right? Help somebody. But the way we treat others, that's the key. Shows how far we progressed. But it's not only this, that's the bad part. Because if you say, oh no, I treat people well, I help the elderly, I don't scream, I don't do that. Well, still have all the other points to work on it, right? Our requests, sometimes Emmanuel tells us that we pray, we ask for things before having a solution, a plan, before they kind of like the spirit's trying to see if we can do it or not. We already changed the desire, the request, because we don't even know what we want. So we pray, oh, no, it didn't happen. Next one. Let's wait. Let's move towards our goal. Let's work for it and see what happens. Right? We keep jumping, right? Back and forth in different situations instead of wait and request and see if that happens. Putting our will, putting the force of fate. Fate, like we talked before, is not a religion thing. Fate is a potency of the soul. Is the will that you want something. So it's not about religion. It's not about believing anything or anybody. It's believe that's going to happen. You just know. Oh, but it didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen the way you want, the way I want, because it was not the right time, the right situation for us. And down the road, you're going to find out that was not good. We get upset at the moment, but we're going to find out. But our requests enlighten our goals. So what I'm asking, it has reflections in towards what my outcomes are going to be. So let's be careful with what we ask. We can ask everything. We can, everything, the request is neutral. Request doesn't have to be only stuff that is good. One of our brothers or sisters that are in crime might be asking, oh, please help me rob a bank today. And it's okay. That's his request. Is that going to be a good outcome, enlightening the goal, the spiritual goal? No. But I can ask whatever I want. So let's just reflect about that as well, right? Our opinions, this was a good one, because the opinion reveals the true place where we occupy in the world. Have you guys seen that picture? Of course you did, but like the solar system and the Earth? Have you seen how small we are? So the news is that whatever our opinion is, the world is not going to change. The Earth's not going to stop moving. So let's take a step back. What is better, to make it work or to be right all the time? To make my point. Our opinion sometimes is the energy that is spent. Let's think about where we are on this. How important it is to make my point to be right in every situation, right? I'm almost done. Our days, what our days do? Our footsteps on the path of evolution every single day. So that was my question at the beginning. Where I am in this day that it was a drastic day, that I screwed up so much. What happened? Well, didn't happen anything. You just didn't move forward this day. Didn't take a half step. You have to improve the next day. Yeah, use different sandals. Maybe put the humble sandals, right? That the master came to tell us. They will help in many of the struggle that I'm going through, right? For all of us. And to end our talk today, I brought a quote by André Luiz that says that do not forget that assemblies of incarnate and discarnate companions know our personality and follow our steps through the signs that we are leaving behind. And this is for people who live with us, for people that work with us, for the spirits that are in the spiritual world. We are an example for somebody. Oh, no, but I'm nobody. No, you are. And if you think you're nobody and just screwing up all over the place, guess what? Others are following what you're doing. So let's put our attitude right. Let's think about what is inside us, what we just said. Know thyself, where I'm getting better, where I can improve today. At night, when you go to sleep, like in the question 919, ask ourselves, what did I do something today that I would not want it for myself? Did I do something today that I cannot leave me in peace? Did I do something today that if God would take me to the spiritual world today, would I be ashamed to get there? That's just a few questions we can think. And go back to the golden rule. Do to others as you wanted it done to you. That's simple, right? Simple isn't insane. So with that, we end our talk. I thank you for your attention. And I wanted to ask one thing before we move on. If you have any topics that you want us to talk, like Peter, all those folks, they are the good ones that talk here. Let us know, because it's important to us to know what you want to talk about, not what we want to bring. My hope is that this topic helped somehow, was useful, but please give your suggestions. There's a suggestion box. If you don't want to say your name or anything, put a little paper there or whisper in my ear. I won't tell Peter, but any topics that you want to talk about, we are more than glad to bring and help you all. Thank you so much.